YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. It's your homeboy Fat Rat Evolve, the original West Side Playboy gangster. Let's get into something real quick. Some of y'all knew what that was about when you first heard it. Some of y'all need to have it explained to you right down to the modern times, man. I was him uh, at a stage in my development. I was that dude right there, man. That was me. Whatever wasn't fastened down, I was after it, man. And this is kind of a help video for those of you mothers who don't have husbands, righteous men in your lives that are helping you rear and guide your young men. This is specifically about young men and what they going through, especially in the rough streets, man. You know, whatever city you in, but you know, Los Angeles, man, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, you know, the beach areas, man. It's a rough environment, man, and I had to take a deep dive to reevaluate my own decisions in that period of my life when it all turned to materialism, right? And you know, reminded that I was in a family where moms was doing okay. Pops had pretty much retired. My father, I never saw him work for anybody, man. He was a jazz musician, and then when he came out of music, he bought him a couple of ice cream trucks, and then Watts, we used to ride the ice cream truck, man. Pops was, and some days, man, Pops would be doing $600 a day in the early '70s, man. That's nothing to laugh at. He owned his house, he owned his car, you know. But there's a psychology happening in a young man seeking a form of self validation, right? So, and I'm gonna give this to some of my brothers because some of us are anti religious, anti Muslim, anti Christian, et cetera, on down the line. We have these reservations about the impact of these things, right? And who gave them to him, and rightfully so, man. So the wise man looks carefully into his going, like where you on your way to, you look carefully into it before you go there. Wise man, not a fool. So, and you gotta look at it like this. Hold on one second, y'all. Yeah, can you? Okay, I think I'm good. So, if say you in a religion, right, and the religion's goal is to make God your exclusive object, the center of your focus, right? You have a greater potential to avoid predicaments like this right here, right? Where you're seeking validation. And in some cases, man, that's what we were doing. We was, I'm somebody, right? Through the things that I possess, right? Not standing in front of you with holy jeans on, some second rate tennis shoes on and a holy t-shirt. I'm nobody at that point, right? Those things that are external at this stage in your life are giving you a form of validation. Follow me on this, right? Because if you're in a religion and you are making God or Buddha or Allah or Dios, whatever you call him, man, your exclusive object, you won't be concerned about the validation of that which is external because your validation is coming from within yourself, a core part of your being. And that's a part of your, some of it is indoctrination, is where you're going with that. But at this stage in your development, it's important. I'll I'll put it there, man. It's important. And in some cases, man, we don't hold on tight enough to an idea that we can make a greater power our exclusive object and therefore invalidate circumstances like this, right? The notion that something outside of me comes into me to make me valid. This is what you're looking at right here. Something outside of me comes into me, onto me to make me valid. So, part of that is on the parents because you should have already taught your child that in a normal ejaculation, up to 100 million, in some cases, I've heard a half a billion spermali are ejected into the womb. And the sperm begins to fight, travel, speed. They're all racing to a point, right, to become life. I ain't going to get all into the gory details of it, but they're racing to become life on this side. They're not life on this side yet. Process. So they're racing to become life. And in this struggle against 100 million, only one makes it to pierce entry and become life or begin the process of becoming life on this side of that ejaculation. Everybody in view is that type of winner right now on the planet. You already defeated over 100 million just to be here. So when I close my segment and I say, we are winners, I'm talking about the core, baby. I'm saying where it all began, right? We may not be manifesting the trait of being a winner because we're fighting an enemy that has deemed us losers, and he's in power. So the struggle is real, and this is a personal struggle this young man is in, right? But it begins with you, I, as parents, lacking in our understanding to properly guide our children into understanding that they are already valid, regardless to what kind of shoes you wear, regardless to what type of clothes you wear, you know. As long as you're clean in and of yourself, you are neat in and of yourself and you are focused, the the things that you want added to you are much better for you in a later period of your life. That's not even a focus right now. For this young man, having some money shouldn't even really be his focus. But there's peer pressure. We on the west side of Los Angeles, man. You know, Creek just popped up with some brand new shoes and a nice shirt and some clean jeans and his perm is hit. And, you know, this the homie. You looking at him like, what you doing? Fat Rat just flew past us on a mini bike, man. Brand new Flexo, right? Green Eyes over there grinding, man. Where you get that bike from? Think about it. When you think about the homie, the quality that first grabs you is his dress code, his, not so much his swag, but his swag in the context of how he's dressed, how he walks. Not so much what he's saying, but how he talks. The things that are external, that are visible to you, are the qualities that you tune in on, right? So just keep that in mind when you are raising a young man. It's very important that you teach him the essentials of self validation because a lack of self validation is what leads to this guy right here, right? And this leads to a myriad of problems you might not want to think about if you have young men that you can reach, that you can talk to, that you can penetrate with some degree of understanding. Start at self validation, right? Um, and then when you're studying, take a little time, man, because you don't fully get it yet. I don't. This is a problem right here. But for every problem on planet Earth, there's a solution in a book somewhere. We got cell phones now that we could just. And did you know that you can tell if you have Facebook and you got Messenger, you have a free version of AI in your hand right now. Let me just give y'all some game, right? Don't you know you can go to your AI right now, tap the button and hit your microphone and talk to AI about anything. And there's an algorithm that's going to respond with all of the best answers that are available in the algorithm. We're talking about scientists. So don't just, what's the definition of this word? And you go to a Merriam-Webster dictionary and you don't get linguistics, you don't get etymology and things of that nature to teach you the development of a word to understand its true meaning. You don't know what logos are. You don't know the full and ultimate meaning of the sound coming from a certain word and how it affects life. You don't know that. You don't even think that's real yet in some cases. We don't know that yet. So start well, with your AI in your hand, man. And here's a 12-year-old boy running down the alley with a TV in his hand. It appears to be stolen. What are some of the problems you think he has? It might surprise you, man, what you get back from that. and it charts a course for study. So I just want to show you this brother, man, this little brother who was me. And you know, I started off because KRS was trying to say it, you know, back in the 90s. It's an artificial version of form of love, man. It's materialism. You fell in love with a chain. You fell in love with a car. You fell in love with a pair of shoes, right? And it's not real love. It's an infatuation. It's a fascination, right? But you become that. That becomes your identity. I know people right now to this day that I grew up with that are superficial like that. They're so poor, all they have is money. Yes, they're so poor, all they have is money. Let that sink in, man. So, and then with that being said, I wanted to say, after you get through the parental part, the part that you're a parent, and then let's expand that a little bit to talk about the fact that we are all parents. And we're in a village. We are a tribe in a village. You have to look at it like that, man. Community. Go look it up. To commune, right? And be an entity while we commune. Community, right? There becomes stimulus that people are acting on. And when I look up socioeconomic status, problems, there's a dictionary that pops up and just says, "It's this." That's not enough. Because it being that doesn't give you anything actionable to work on, right? It's a starting point to comprehension, right? Everything in life is a word. I said it before, you can't close your eyes and imagine something that doesn't attack, it doesn't give a description. Or, let me get that right. You can't give a description to anything in life without a word. Try it. Run a test on that. Maybe I'm out there, right? You can't describe anything in life without a word. Words do become flesh. They do. So here we got socio, and just to break it down, and I'm gonna read it. The meaning of or related to society. Economic, meaning of or related to the economy. That's the money, right? Status, which could mean position, but it is usually connected to the degree of deference afforded in society or prestige. Social status is the degree of deference, respect according to an individual or group. So now we're talking about classes and categories and things of that nature and getting in where we fit in, right? We can start from the bottom, understanding that we're at the bottom and taking a real account and saying, yeah, man, we at the bottom right now. We don't have to stay there, but we do have to acknowledge where we are in truth, right? So when you're raising a young man and you don't have many means, understand the pressures that he faces, right? And the role that you feel. And in some cases, we go work hard to make sure he has Jordans. Sometimes, you know, in some cases, our response is just as superficial as his is, unfortunately. Because if you think you're solving the problem by going to pay for, thus validate the point of view that he is somebody as a direct result of what comes from outside of him. You're part of the problem. There's nothing wrong with Jordans. Well, look, I like Jordans. I mean, I wear Jordans. But I don't wear them because it gives me some form or degree of social status anymore. I wear them because they turn out to be the most comfortable shoe on my foot in comparison to other shoes I've worn, and I like a comfortable shoe. And when I go for a Jordan, I don't go for the brand new, just came out $900 pair. That ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something with a red tag on it. Hate to see me coming. Because my interest is the comfortability, not the fashion. And again, I'm not knocking fashion. But if fashion equates to validation, that's a dilemma. And I know a lot of us are still superficial like that, man. And we raise our children on the same principles and wonder what happened to them, man. We didn't take charge, right? You train a child up in the way it should go. You disagree with that? So that came out of a Bible. You disagree with it because you're not religious and you don't agree with a Bible. You don't understand that you do, in fact, train a child up in the way it should go and it doesn't soon depart from them. You think that's made up? Like I said, man, we got a lot to learn. A whole lot. So socioeconomic circumstances have the potential to dictate, avoid. So now we're talking again about not what your situation is, but how you're handling it. Right? You ever trip off some of the destitute circumstances out of which a lot of our black millionaires and billionaires came? You ever trip off of that? How bad it was when they was little? Some of them made it through. And you think that in all cases that our people have attained some degree of success that white people gave it to them? Or they were Illuminati and stuff like you think that? The Baphomet, you know, it's all that for the success. Is that, you believe that? Introspection, man. Introspection. Get in that mirror. Get in that mirror before you go to that child. Get in that mirror. Because a lot of what you're doing and thinking is childish. So when you go to him, you're only perpetuating childishness. You're validating childishness and condemning a generation of ours to childish thinking, childish actions, right? So when you really want to commit to self-improvement, which is the basis for community development, how you gonna make the community better than you tripping? Man, don't go outside until you fix what's inside, man. We got work to do inside the house before we get out here and grab a sign and start marching for a cause, right? Outside, and we ain't dealt with what's going on inside the house. And we're losing our youth because we don't know how to guide them. and then we leave it to others. Well, that's what we gonna come in at. When we finish explaining our history to you, what the Playboy gangsters went through. Remember, I contend that it's not a contradiction to be a crip and a good person simultaneously. I contend. I can make that argument. Bring your scholars and whoever you think is qualified to debate the issue, and we'll have it. We can have it publicly, right? Because who's better and more qualified to deal with the problems in the mud than the one who came out of it? Don't stand across the street looking at mud all your life and tell me you understand it and you're thus qualified to, you know, change it. Nah, I don't believe that. You can help, but you're not the best person for it to help. So we're going to position ourselves on the west side to set up programs that we can do intervention for our youth crisis and management. And I'm not just talking about sports teams and stuff of that nature. Man, I'm talking about psychological evaluations, interventions, assessments, and programs to assist with giving them an image of themselves that exceeds ain't no thing in life. You can't give me nothing in life that is more valuable than the life itself. We are life. You gonna validate a building over me? I emphatically reject your assertion. You looking at a young God in training when you look at us. We just other than ourselves. We didn't only come from being kings and queens and rulers. That's the part of the history they let you in on. There's another part that they never want you to know about that rings the alarm in your soul, brings you out of your sleep and your stupor, stands you up firmly on your square, and makes you a beacon in the midst of everybody you come around or who comes around you. That's what we want to instill in our youth, man. And I believe we have the way to bring that. So this is where we're at with it, man. I just wanted to chime in for a second. Uh, and I'm gonna close this out as I do, man. You know, we are winners. We're on 1,000-mile journey that begins with one step. That step is taking us closer to our success. With unity, we can accomplish all things. I'm going to say something about that unity piece at the end of this. Stop trying to do it by yourself, man. It's not working. There is a person, there are people around you who have gone through what you're trying to get through. And even if they fail, there is a lesson in failure. Unity. So I started a YouTube page, as we see. I started the YouTube page for the benefit of everybody, myself included, because I have something to offer the circumstances. if you know me to any degree or extent, or you even heard about me, then you know what life I'm living. What's so hard is free. It's free. This is how you know where we crabs in the barrel. Because it's free to go on the YouTube page, click like, subscribe to the page, and drop a comment. Hey homie, good job. Keep pushing. Thumbs up. That all that's free. It'll cost you maybe 30 seconds of your time, man. But you don't have 30 seconds, or you may not like me. I don't. Either way, it's a hindrance. You holding up progress when you do that. So, if you have a better approach, something to offer that's better, and you're hiding it under a bed somewhere in your house, we don't know. Bring it on out. Come on out, man. Stop being a sucker and talking, backbiting, trying to eat the dead flesh of your brother, man. Whispering like a slinking devil in some back room filled with smoke and liquor about what you don't like, that you ain't gonna do nothing about yourself. That's insane, man. Think about that, man. It's your homeboy, Fat Rat, man. Y'all continue to have a blessing.